Hello everyone, this is the Vloggerio. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to rotate and move the player toward the mouse. Let's begin. Okay, in order to calculate the angle between 2 points, we have to have the x and y of the first point, x and y of the second point, and there is a function called ep9 that needs to take two parameters, x and y, and in order to calculate those parameters you have to say, okay, x2 minus x1 and y2 minus y1, which we already have them, and the result of this function is gonna be called theta, or better said, angle. For accessing in our case, the first x and y is always middle of a screen. That is why P5js is coming so handy, and we have access to two global variables which P5js gave us. One of them is window width and the other one is the window height. And how is that going to help us to get the x and y off the middle of a screen? We can simply say window width divided by 2, window height divided by 2, just like that. And x2 and y2 is gonna be the location of the mouse. How do we access the location of the mouse? Again, P5js gives us two global variables, and those are called mouse x and mouse y, which are accessible anywhere. We can use those in our code to calculate the ep9. We only need to replace the x2 with the mouse x and x1 with the window width divided by 2. All right. Now let's go to our code. This is the last place we left. This is from the episode number 8. The first thing I'm gonna do is to get rid of the global variable player2 and constructing the player number 2 in the setup. I don't want that. I don't want the player number 2 to be drawn because there is no player number 2 anymore. And let's go to the player constructor, the draw method of our player object. So in the draw method, I'm gonna calculate the location, the angle between the location of the player, which is the middle of the screen, and the mouse. How do we do that? We simply say I create a variable called angle. I equal it to ep9, which is already made by P5js. We don't need to worry about the ep9. If you're wondering what does ep9 do in mathematical, you can simply go to the internet and search it in Wikipedia, which there is a really good explanation about it. It's a bit confusing, but you can understand it. So what is the first point here? Maybe I can say mouse y. I'm gonna start. It's so weird that we have to start from the y here. It said it gets an y and x. I don't know. I don't know why is that, but that's the way it works. It's just reversed. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, your angle is gonna be always you rotate toward the right, it rotates toward the left. It's so weird. So I say mouse y, which is my first x, minus, I want to get the middle of the screen, window height divided by 2. And now for the second number, I'm gonna say mouse x minus window width divided by 2, just like that. That's how we get the angle. Yeah. And now the other thing that we have to do is to, before we draw anything, okay, here is where we draw, and this is where we color it. You have to use something called rotate, and the rotate function is a P5js function that is responsible for rotating the canvas, the content of the canvas. And for that rotation, I'm gonna give it the angle. So this is gonna show us a lot of problems, but don't think about that. We're gonna fix it in a moment. node server.js. I'm gonna start the server. I'm gonna go to localhost 2000, and okay, that there is our player, but this is so weird that it is rotating. You see, when I refresh, when it's in the first place, it is rotating, but it's not rotating toward the mouse. That's the first thing. And when we move, it's just get weird. I'm gonna fix that in a moment. Let's go back to code and see what is the problem actually. The problem is here that whenever you use a rotate function in P5js, before that you have to absolutely use translate function as well. So first of all, you have to translate to wherever you want to start rotating from. This is the actual place that you're gonna rotate the whole screen according to that location. So first of all, you have to have an origin, the origin of rotation. Okay, you have, for example, you have let me see the screen. For example, you have my mouse pad. This is the origin of rotation, so you are rotating from here, or this is the rotation origin. You are rotating from here. That is why we have to use a translate. So that the translate that we use here is going to show the origin of our rotation. If you're wondering what we're gonna do here is that, okay, up here, let me tell you. In the draw function, you already know about the translate. First of all, we translate to the location of the player. Yes, that is right. But now we need to translate another time. We don't want to translate first, translate here, then translate again here. We don't want that happen. We don't want that happen. That is why there is another thing in P5js called push. Oh shit. Push and pop. This is so weird that Visual Studio Code is not recognizing my code because we're using P5js. In the next video, I will show you how to add an extension, the extension of P5js made by, I don't know, maybe I guess Mr. Daniel Schiffman, yes. And the P5J and the Visual Studio will recognize our P5js code. Don't worry about that. We'll fix that soon. So there is something called push and pop, which if you go to the P5js references and search for push, there is push and pop. You click it, it already tells you. It starts a new drawing state. Basically, it means that it saves whatever you have on the screen. It's before the push, whatever you do, no matter what you do. Okay, from here you save everything on the screen and you do whatever other thing you want here, and then you bring the setting of the canvas back to whatever it was. Okay, so whenever you're going to draw a new thing, you say push, and then you say, oh, there's a flyer. You say push and you say pop. So I'm gonna copy everything here. I'm gonna paste it inside a push and pop. So before you see, we don't have this translated yet. Before I do this, I push and then I pop. Okay, I'm gonna save. You will not see any changes, but I'm gonna show you something real quick. So I'm gonna say, okay, fill the screen with a color of red, yeah, and then I'm gonna say, yeah, and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna fill the screen, and then I'm gonna draw something on the screen. Let's see what happens if I do that. I'm gonna go to code, refresh. Okay, nothing is changed. Nothing is changed because the color of the player is still red. But what happens if I place this in push and pop? It means that, okay, save the state, change the color, bring the state back to whatever it was before I do this. I'm gonna go back to code, go back to the game, refresh. As you can see, it just takes the last color that it has. So that's what push and pop does. We don't care about it anymore. I'm gonna get the color, bring it wherever it was, just like that. So I push and I pop. I want to do another translate in the push and pop, and I'm gonna translate to the location of the player, this.x and this.y. Notice that now, because I am translating to this location again in the push and pop, okay, I no longer need to draw the vertices from this.x and this.y, because I am already translating to the this.x and this.y. So whenever I'm drawing something now, the origin of my screen, the 0, 0 of the player of the screen, is considered as this.x and this.y. So I no longer need to draw things according to this.x and this.y, because it is already made, the origin is here. Okay, before that I was saying that before I do this, let me see again. I'm gonna show you all right, just like that. Right now I'm going to say, okay, a new vertex on this.x and this.y. Okay, but now I'm translating the screen, maybe just like that. Now this is this.x and this.y. If I again say, okay, vertex this.x, this.y, it again goes and draw the player here. I don't want that to happen. Right now I have to say, okay, this is the origin now, and now I want my player to be shown in the 0, 0 location. Let's do that. So wherever you see this.x and this.y, we don't need that anymore. Just like that. I'm gonna get rid of every this.x and this.y we have. We don't have this. We don't have this. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. I'm gonna save. I'm gonna refresh. Yeah. Can you see that? It is rotating according to my mouse location. But something is that there is a weird distance between mouse and the player. If I refresh, you can see that it is not in the middle of the screen. That's because I create the player. Let me go up here. This should be 0, 0. I want it to start from the 0, 0. That's what I want. Yeah, it's always in the middle of the screen. It is rotating, but now we are having another problem, which is, this is weird. It has, I don't know, 90 degrees to the other way. That's what it looks like. So in order to fix that has something to do with my vertices, the order of creating it. So you have to calculate it. Okay, I'm gonna draw from here, here, and that's my triangle. But when I rotate the mouse, it just moves like this. I don't want that. So let's change the vertices to look somewhere else. I have already changed the vertices to have the right position. There we go. If you're wondering why I have added this 30 plus, I'm gonna show you in a moment. I'm gonna take it away just to demonstrate how it looks. Okay, this is how it looks. It is rotating toward the mouse. Yes, it is rotating, but there is a problem. It is rotating according to the top, to the head of my drawing. So I'm gonna bring everything. I'm gonna take everything behind it by 30. Okay, so I'm gonna draw everything 30 pixel behind my translation. So that is why I add 30 to everything you see here. Maybe you can add this 30 to here and it become 70. Okay, yes, 70, 40, and this is 30. So we no longer need these. If I save that, if I refresh, as you can see, it is fixed. Okay, it is rotating according to almost the middle. So that's the 30. If you're wondering how you can make it bigger or smaller, I can say 80. I save, I refresh, it just rotates like that. Alright, that's for rotation, but there is another thing we're gonna do here. We are going to change the speed. We are no longer going to press a button and the player moves. I'm going to have a player that moves toward the mouse. Wherever my mouse is, my I don't know what it is, triangle, move toward it. So I'm gonna comment everything we have about key press and key release. We don't want that anymore. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna before I add the speed x and the speed y to the this.x and this.y, I'm gonna I'm gonna calculate the speed according to calculate the speed according to the angle. How I do that? I can say this dot speed x is equal to, we can say cosine of angle, and this dot speed y is equal to sine of the angle. So we use something called cosine and sine, which are going to, in order to calculate the x direction. Let me show you that. If you don't know about sine and cosine, let me show you that. What is sine saying? The sine and cosine are going to calculate this. Okay, imagine we have 1 by 1. Okay, maybe with other color, write it. We have a 1 by 1. Okay, and cosine, what does the cosine of the theta do? If I just say the cosine of the theta, it's gonna return this. It's gonna return, okay, this. Okay, if I say the sine of the theta it's gonna return this. That's like that. Okay, so I use this, calculate it, and then I'm gonna check if cosine, I'm gonna check if this dot speed x is more than maybe 3. I'm gonna say this dot speed x is equal to 3. So I'm gonna always keep the speed to the 3. It is never going to get more than 3, more than 1, because it's cosine is never gonna get more than 1. Okay, but later on we're gonna have a multiplier. That is why I'm going to check first if the speed y, and then I'm gonna add it to the speed. So this is how we calculate the speed of x and y. Let's refresh the game. I'm gonna refresh. As you can see, it is moving toward the mouse. Once again, cosine and sine are P5js methods. If you're gonna know what is the JavaScript method of that, you can also say math.cosine. Both of them are the same thing, but cosine is a better way of doing that because we're using P5js just to make things easier. That is how it works. So look at that, it's moving toward the mouse, and I wanna tell you that this, I'm going to say this multiply by 3, so the speed is gonna be 3. Okay. Now the speed is more. Yeah. So that's it for this video. For the next video, I'm going to teach you how to use vectors instead of just points. Instead of having x and y, I'm gonna use vectors like lines, just like that. If we use vectors, we're gonna have a lot smoother game. So whenever you go this way and suddenly you go back this way, it's gonna go way and back, just bouncing around. That's kind of behavior I'm looking for. That's why we're gonna use vectors. But yeah, I'm also going to tell you how to add the P5js extension to the Visual Studio Code, so that way the Visual Studio Code is gonna recognize the P5js functions and methods. That's it for today. Thank you very much, everybody, and see you later.